All right, to my next guest now, and with research suggesting that 1 in 2 employees feel underpaid and underappreciated, and more than 70% are working at times for free, would you believe it, for their employers, with workers giving away 11 hours of unpaid work a week, asking for a pay rise is still a difficult conversation to have for many, 100%. One of Australia's leading experts in people and behaviour, Mark Carter, says that as we are in an employee-driven market with skills labour shortages, there's never been a better time to ask for more. Mark joins me in the studio now to tell us all about it. Welcome to the program.
Hey Mike, thanks for having me in.
No troubles at all. Good timing for this one. I think it's maybe now's the time. Today's the day. Talk to us about how significant the issue of employees feeling undervalued by employers is at the moment.
Yeah, it's shifted in many ways. We're kind of better than we were pre-COVID, but there's some good data out there. So Adecco have got a salary guide they release every year, and they say something like 70% of people are feeling happier than they were 12 months ago. And you know, they're feeling like things are getting better. But noticeably, they've got one stat that is 53% of young leaders are feeling burnt out. And this is a trend we're seeing echoed by Qualtrics and Employee Experience, where they've seen 86% to 68% of people intending to stay in their business, particularly at a leadership level. So I think this crisis of the pressures being put on leaders within businesses of managing remote workforces is really what's showing
that hybrid workspace and how it's all been changing. And the young leaders stat is interesting. I understand that they get very excited, they dive right in and perhaps burn out a little bit too soon. But can you talk to us a little bit about why asking for a pay rise is such a difficult conversation? And I'm also wondering if there's a gender issue tied to this as we hear, you know, the pay imbalance that goes on.
Good. It's an interesting one. So Australian government have got the Gender Diversity Agency, and they've got a stat that says about 13.8% difference or variance. However, I don't think it's as simple as that. You know, there's a very famous interview, Jordan Peterson and Kathy Newman, where the conversation got quite contentious or heated. And you go, if you break down by industry, it's not necessarily the case. In fact, I work with some people in recruitment and tech saying that the opposite's the case. I think the issue of pay rise, why is it so difficult? It's a behavior thing. Some people might not have the confidence. Some people might have different motivations or drive. If you're driven by utility and you're about you versus you're driven by social and philanthropy, your conversation is going to be different. So think about it more as a behavior thing rather than a gender thing. And that's really what makes a difficult conversation for some people.
Okay, so with the skills shortage in the market at the moment, do you think that makes it easier to start pulling some strings and requesting maybe what you want, what you need, what you deserve perhaps?
Definitely a good time.
Okay.
Definitely a good time to start asking and having those conversations, because you know there is a shortage. Everybody's looking for talent. Businesses are wanting to keep people in their seats or attract the best talent, and they're willing to pay more right now if that means getting the right people in. So this is absolutely the best time to take those conversations to your business.
Okay, so we've heard about the Great Resignation and all of that, and given we're seeing such people movement from job to job, people are jumping around, should employers get on the front foot with staff? Is that something you recommend? Don't wait until it's too late and they're out the door down the road?
100%. In fact, that would be, if you think a business owner or if you're a leader in a business, why would you wait just because somebody hasn't got the skills or tenacity to come and ask you for a pay rise? Be on the front foot and give them it anyway, because that's how you're going to retain talent in the long haul. They're going to remember that. They're hired to do a certain job, and if they're not assertive enough to come asking for a pay rise, it doesn't mean we shouldn't be on the front foot to give them that, to keep up with market and look after them. The more you look after them, you increase the chance of keeping them. Otherwise, as you say, Mike, the first you're going to hear is when they're leaving the building to go elsewhere, or they're coming to you because they've got an offer from somewhere else where they've been interviewing.
100%. So what is the best way, I suppose, to open that conversation and get the ball rolling for those people out there who might be on the fence about stepping into the office and saying, hey, this is what I'm worth?
Yeah, cool. If it's a difficult conversation for some people, the best thing I'd say to start with is have the conversation. Don't be shy, just have the conversation. Tackling the conversation is what takes the fear and the uncomfortability out of it. And then the best thing there is just be prepared. Do your research, find out the market rates, have a look at like Adecco's salary guide and look at the brackets and bandwidths for your industry potentially. Go in with an idea of what you want and think even breaking down what is it you want in terms of your overall package. How might you be able to negotiate around that? So the more prepared you are in going into that conversation, you're in a much better situation to have the conversation in the first place. But as I say, just take the fear out of it. Go and have the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice. And I think a negotiation as well, bringing it not as an aggressive sort of stance or an attack or anything. You sort of negates the fear a little bit. Mark, tell us a little bit about your book before I let you go.
Yeah,
and
cool.
where people can get a hold of it.
Yeah.
Talking add value.
Yeah, so I mean, this ties into this one as well. I mean, if you're going to ask for pay rise, show a business how you add value. And I talk about 5 elements of value. Tangible value is measurable value. Build a business case and show what impact you have on a business. But things like emotional value, how do you impact the culture of the business you work for? Relationship value, how do you add value to the relationships internally with stakeholders or externally with customers? That's just some different ways that you think
Valuable,
about.
often unseen skills.
Absolutely. Value is hidden in places that we don't often see, or because of our biases of how our brain works, we don't necessarily look for them. So understanding all these 5 elements of value, that's what the book's really about.
Mark Carter, thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'm going to go chat to the boss right now. Not actually, but thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mike.